We stand as one, walk with thousands.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Dad Bods and Beards. It is just Tyson and Logan here in the studio today. Today's gonna be a little bit of a quicker one and a kind of off the cuff. Don't really even have an idea what we're gonna talk about.
I do.
What are you gonna talk about?
Well, it's serious. It's dead serious.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That was gonna be kind of funny.
We can.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about what happened when I was with Bryce.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like, I think people should know, like, it happens to everyone.
Huh? Mm-hmm.
And I've never experienced anything like it.
Well, before we get into that,
So this is going to be a 2-hour session.
yeah, no. Before we get into that, this episode's going to end up coming out obviously sometime in December, but today is actually Veterans Day, and we, this year took on a new sponsor, which is Waze Energy Drink, which is owned, which we should probably text Luke and Bubba. That'd be a good idea. It's Veterans Day today.
Yeah. Well, I posted something for him yesterday.
We for Waze.
Mm-hmm.
And as you guys know, one of our newest sponsors is Waze Energy. I freaking love these drinks, man. And it's like everybody asks me that have seen my social media.
I legit just had a pre-workout before my workout, and it was about an hour and a half ago, and I'm like, I can't drink one.
I got the peach right now. But I every time I see somebody, you go through that pallet yet? Because I made the content about
Speaking
that.
of which, I need just lime. Like, I don't know what they should have just sent a whole pallet of lime.
Well, unfortunately, buddy, we split it equally, so you got what you got. So, but if you guys are looking for a new, clean way of getting your energy with all of the crap that's out there on the market, full of all kinds of crazy chemicals, Waze Energy is a cut above the best. That's not even. I just came up with that. I didn't even like. I
ignored you.
I bet you did.
I was paying attention. I'm like, why am I enjoying this pillow right now?
Waze is an acronym. It stands for We Appreciate Your Service and Sacrifice. And 10% of all of their orders go towards veterans and first responders. And we just freaking love this company. These two, Bubba and Luke, are most likely coming out in December to come visit.
Have they told you that again?
Well, we were just chatting with Becky. They're figuring it out. And then this time next week, your boys are going to be in Belize.
Half naked in the water. Because we'll swim suit.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's for a guy half naked, it's really not that bad. For dad bods,
we're going to be wearing swim shirts.
Yeah. We just found out today that there might also not be any air conditioning in this luxury resort.
And it's called Dad Bods.
Yeah. There's a bunch of sweaty fat dudes in the jungle.
But they did say that there's not a lot of insects. I was reading like the things that we need to bring. And they're like, there's no insects, so no need to bring a bug net. But bring like long sleeve shirts.
Theory,
but they said basically all the stuff in the jungle as we go hiking through it.
Wait, did you read the
that.
packing list? I didn't read anything.
No, it's like you have to wear like long sleeve shirts, pants, all this kind of stuff, because when you're hiking in the jungle, there's a lot of like things that could harm you.
Oh, wonderful. I'm sorry. I didn't read this because has anybody watched, heard of Logan's track record of potentially getting hurt if there's an opportunity to?
So they're like wear the sun shirts that are like thin but long sleeves so that the plants and stuff. So
where
that
am
are
I
poisonous.
supposed to get sun shirts in November in Utah?
Kohl's. Amazon.
I'm glad you said that because I was about to look at the packing list on Saturday night before we're leaving.
That would have been a bad idea.
Yeah, it'd have been a really bad idea.
Yeah, and all your toiletries, but you don't have to bring a blow dryer because they have one.
I don't use a blow dryer anymore. I got a little beard.
You've got a whale beard.
I got a whittle beard.
But did you know heat is good for your beard with oil, and it actually makes your beard more healthy?
Yeah, I just think I don't use it because I don't have to curl it anymore.
The heat's good for you, baby. I don't know why I said that.
So, Tyson,
ever since the post of Bryce, I swear I've gotten like 200 followers that are all bear chaser, yummer.
So if you guys go back when this episode is filmed versus what content we're talking about, you guys go back to
where he rocks
beginning of November where we did a couple of posts with our buddy Bryce. Big mountain of a dude, 6'9", 410 pounds, and the dude's just thick with all of the C's, not even 2 or 3, like all of them. Mm-hmm. And dude, nice. He literally picked up Tyson and rocked him like a baby.
And he didn't talk in or anything. No, he was just like, yeah.
And we did some stuff with him, and we know that there's a handful of guys out there that enjoy our girthiness, and they went bonkers for Bryce. He's like the final boss of bears.
But for real.
Yeah, like
But even like Cole, and he's just a little guy.
Yeah. Well, Cole's what you call a cub. But no, so yeah, we got a couple.
Can confirm I got like 5, 10. Actually, what did I say earlier?
50,
around 50 followers from that post, and
a bunch of interesting DMs.
Almost all of them. I don't even want to click on the picture.
Yeah.
Oh no, they're all amazing. There's only a few that give it a bad name, but that's for everyone.
Honestly, though, whenever anybody's mean in my comment section, without fail, don't you talk to Daddy like that?
Really?
Oh yeah.
I'm going to talk to him mean.
Yeah. Are you okay, Poppy? We love you. No, it's so funny with Bryce. He was a good sport. We got a couple more that I'm going to put out with him. But speaking of Bryce, not to change gears too fast or too suddenly, and not to get super deep and super far, because today's going to be a little bit more of a...
Sorry, we don't have to.
No.
And that isn't a sorry that I felt this way. It's like I just sprang it up on you. We can do it next time.
No, it's fine. Whatever you want to do.
I'm emotionally numb right now, so this is not going to be a crying session. This is just going to say,
okay, then let's talk about that as a real side. Let's talk about this is the real side. This is the less than a week rebound from. So
still
I'm not going
to still.
How much do you want me to say, and how much do you want to say? Do you want me to give it from my perspective?
I'm going to be 100% honest.
Do you want to explain what you're feeling? I will
do mine, and then you can do yours.
Okay, so I'll set it up. We shot the podcast.
I still need to watch when it happened.
So today's Tuesday, and this was on Friday, right? So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 4 days ago. 4 days ago.
And I'm still struggling with it. I'm trying to put on a happy face.
We did a podcast with Bryce, and we were talking about Bryce's, experience in D1 college football, and then all of his injuries, and basically missing out on the pros. Which, if anybody was a shoe-in for the pros, it was Bryce, right? And then we got into mental health for a second. We got into
Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, we got into we got into mindset and things like that. And we talked about the Dallas Cowboys defensive end that recently had died by suicide because of some issues he was dealing with. We don't even have 100% of the story yet, but that, unbeknownst to me, because I was turned to the right listening to Bryce. I didn't realize that you're over there on the edge of it, like zoning out,
100%
spiraling.
And I was trying so hard to stay present,
and I had no idea because I was over here looking this way.
And that's why I was asking like these weird random questions, like, "Hey, dude." But I asked that one question. I'm like, "So, do you hate your fans or whatever?" I said. And
I don't think you asked that.
No, I asked something about like, how is it with fans? Like, do fans sometimes annoy you because how much we care? That's kind of what the question I was trying to get at.
Oh, well, I was just thinking that was because you kind of geeked out over the BYU football team.
100% I did. Like to the point where I'm like, I was a little embarrassed how bad it was.
Oh, I think it's funny.
It was hilarious, but maybe not to them.
But anyways, talking about that player who ended up kind of succumbing to his struggles, that puts you like in a downward tailspin almost instantly. I didn't realize that. And I think you were trying to play along, and nothing was really giving me any red flags that you were not in a headspace. Because sometimes when we have a guest on the show that has long-winded stories, you and I end up being fairly quiet for a good chunk of the time. And this is the side of podcasting which is a little bit difficult, especially when you've been having as many guests as we have. You want to tell them their story, but you also have your time constraints, and you also want to keep it somewhat on track, and you also want to make sure you're asking questions that is pertinent to the listeners. So I'm sitting here thinking you and I are both doing that we're both listening for parts of Bryce's story that we can expound or.
So at the very end, I got to that point again.
Okay.
But I was in and out after that moment.
So what do you mean by that point? I mean, I know, but like, just so everybody has some context. What do you mean? Like, you're starting to tailspin. And
yeah. So let's start with this. And I think I've even said this on the podcast before, where I got to the point where I'm like, if I die, it would be okay.
Yeah, you've said that before.
And I actually was talking to Felicia about that, and I'll get more into that afterwards. She's like, yeah, that makes sense. Why you're like this. I was kind of, But anyway, point being, we'll
Which is
get to
a very
that point.
common thought that a lot of guys have.
Yeah. And that is a part of suicide
Ideology.
ideology. Yeah. Idealization. Is that what it's?
Either way, ideology is an easier word.
It's so true. I can't talk right now. But no, what happened is, so I've been struggling financially for years. But it's gotten a lot worse over this year.
Well, hold on. Back up.
Okay. Well, I'm telling you why everything happened.
Copper John's, your business has had a lot of ups and downs.
Yes.
Because it's a small business and that's what happens.
And then our personal finances have taken hit because I have to invest in Copper John's.
Yeah.
And because, it's like house payment, or you have to pay the lease so that you can stay in business. Mm-hmm. I always like, Copper John's will not go anywhere. We're going to succeed. I have zero doubt. Like, we work endlessly, and it's going to happen. Like, just is what it is. But with that being said, and I'm doing a lot of things to make sure that happens. But anyway, with that being said, I've been, feeling almost like a little failure, almost being woe is me, and I've tried so hard to get out of it. But when all of a sudden something was said and maybe it was just in my head after he said he died, and a lot of it might have to do with his finances. And all of a sudden I just heard finances and suicide, and
it triggered you.
I've never been triggered.
Which,
like, I've never experienced this.
That can be, kind of ironically triggering to some people to say that you were triggered. Because that's literally the definition of the word. You got some guys that act like if you're triggered, you're soft. Triggered is literally just like, it is a literal definition. Something clicked. Mm-hmm. Like something pulled that trigger.
Yeah, it didn't make me angry. It didn't make me, it just, all of a sudden I went and I accepted it. So all of a sudden I start thinking about.
Which normally you have put things out of your brain fairly quick, or you've pulled it back to reality, or you've put things into perspective, but this time it was
no, I completely wholeheartedly just accepted it. And so for the next 20 minutes while you guys were talking, I went down and just thought, okay, I'm going to kill myself today. I'm going to take this medication. I'm not going to take this medication. I am going to send this video to Candace and this video to Logan. And I already had what I was going to say in it. As soon as the medicine started working and I knew I wasn't going to be around, I'd hit send. I'd be in a place where it's easy to find so that no one could, kids wouldn't see me, but everyone was going to be okay. And I started shaking during the podcast. My heart was pounding. I started sweating, but I was at peace. Like, I was not scared. Like, it was like, this has to happen.
Let me back up here just for the sake of, I get where you're at. And I'm not trying to discredit you or whatever, but just for the sake of also that we may be having people that are listening that could be in the same place. Peace might be the wrong word. It might have felt like that.
I accepted it.
I know. I'm just saying from the outside looking in, that's how it feels. I know that feeling, but it's chemical imbalance to the point of disassociation and delusion that is masking itself as peace. Okay. Because peace is a positive. I know, and that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying, giving context. I'm glad you said that, but then kind of like the back-ended context and clarification is that's the point of why we do what we do. Because your brain convinces you that's a peaceful exit. Well,
let me
right?
continue, and I'll tell you why I'm feeling this way. And I know it's because anyway, I'm feeling this way. Excuse me. And I'm just like, I don't know. I just like, it's going to happen. And then I tell Cole and I tell you mostly and just saying, hey, I know I shouldn't feel this way.
Yeah. Because we're outside trying to shoot content.
But I'm okay. That's what I was like. But I knew I wasn't, but it felt like I was. But anyway, I'm in my mind, I'm like, Logan's going to thrive. Like, he's going to thrive without me. It might be hard for a second, but he's going to thrive. And then I thought, Candace, she'll miss me, but she'll find an amazing husband and she'll find someone who loves her more than I do. Like, not loves her more than I do, but can take care of her better than I can. And my kids, I don't see them hardly anyway, so they're going to be fine. And no, really, this is all I'm thinking. And it was 100% believed. Like, I believed it. Like, I didn't have any doubt. It was crazy to me. It was just, like I said, it was like a decision that, I'm like, this is the right decision. There was no doubt in my mind that it was going to happen. And like I said, this has never happened before. Like, it's never happened before. Mm-hmm. And then you call, because you could, like, you knew it was weird. Like, this wasn't just weird. I
had a hard time letting you leave.
Yeah. And
this was all here at the studio on Friday.
And then you call me and you talk and you made me promise to talk to Candace. And
I think you're putting that a little bit too nicely.
Well, I'll let you do your thing.
Okay. I was an asshole.
But I promised I would talk to Candace before anything, and so Candace was there when I got to the lab. And I for the next 90 minutes or so, it was still there, and then it eventually left. The feeling of being okay, meaning like, oh yeah, that's the solution. Mm-hmm. The pain was still there, but the solution was not it anymore. And I'm in the pain, but it's to the point where I was talking to Felicia, and she's like, "You're going to be numb for a while." Mm-hmm. Like, not like I'll laugh. I put on a mask. Candace like, "You're getting too good at hiding stuff, Candace or Tyson." And I'm like, "I didn't realize it. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not trying to hide things from her. I'm not." But yeah, it was weird because I'm numb, and she's like, "You're going to be numb for a while because how you felt and how you were."
You kind of fry your nervous system when you get to that point.
Yeah.
Like when you get to that point where your body and your mind and everything is basically trying to accept the disassociation and the delusion that this is the quote logical answer, which will never be logical ever. Mm-hmm. But that's what your brain is capable of making you feel in the chemical imbalance. That once you come back to reality and you stay safe and you stay alive and you don't go down that route and you start trying to slip back into normalcy, you're numb because you have literally overloaded your system unintentionally.
Yeah. And it was, and I'm still that way. Like, but it was just like, I was done. I was sick of everything. I was tired of all I didn't even feel like a burden. Like, mm-hmm. There's guys who like, I'm a burden. And so therefore, to unburden everyone, I'm going to leave. It wasn't that feeling. It was more of like, there are better people out there for the people that I love. Yep. And so I'm going to leave so that they can have those people. It wasn't a burden. It was more of a solution. It was weird. And I don't feel that way anymore. But like I said, now I can tell I'm in a funk. I can tell that I am depressed and have anxiety. But at the same time, it's like, I'm just like, I'm here. Like, mm-hmm. like I don't know. It's like I'm waking up from sleep and there's really no emotion. It's weird. I've not experienced this before. I didn't experience that. I haven't experienced this. But I'll tell you this. Now that I know what I know and what I experienced, I have a lot more empathy. I had a ton of empathy. But it's more of I used to say, and that's serious. I used to say, it's okay not to be okay. I don't like that anymore. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like that wasn't okay.
No, it wasn't.
And so it's just like, I need to figure out something else to say, where it's like, you are worthy. You are loved. You are an amazing person. You got this. There's something out there that just says, hey, what you're doing right now, it's not okay.
Well, this is the thing, is that it's okay to not be okay is only half of a sentence.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like that's what we're trying to do, is try to finish that sentence. I'm like, it's okay to not be okay, but you've got to do something about it. You can't sit and ruminate.
Yeah. You were talking to me all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like that because this is like, this is not okay.
So you want me to give you like my side of perspective?
Yeah.
So, that whole phrase of like a duck, the duck above and below the water, like a duck on top of the water looks very calm, mm-hmm. but a duck underneath, its legs are just cranking under, right? And that's how it's moving across the water so gracefully. It's because its legs are just That was Friday for me. I was trying to maintain a level of like communication with you and like level-headedness, but also still angry because I'm freaking talking to you and trying to like help you see some perspective or whatever.
And I was fine.
But the texts and the phone calls that were going on in between me talking to you, like to make sure that like I was doing things right and talking to you. So like the flip side, we're trying to shoot some funny content. Didn't realize you were struggling through all that stuff. So then I feel bad, right? That I'm making you turn it on. I didn't realize that you were that far gone, right? And then we start talking and you start telling me stuff. And I've heard you say these things before, right? And we've always been able to be like, hey, yeah, get it. I'm not, discrediting you or whatever. But that's a very common feeling that a lot of guys have, especially when you're down, especially when you're feeling really shitty about your finances, especially when you're feeling all these different things, right? I've literally been there. Mm-hmm. So many guys have been there. But not a lot of guys get past there. Yes, there is a lot that do. But the circumstances in which suicide pops up and becomes a reality for a lot of people are very different. For you, it was almost like a switch. It was like you straw that broke the camel's back, but it wasn't even like that. Something extra happened. It was a culmination of all these years of different things or whatever, and you were tired, you're exhausted, and you heard a story of a guy who supposedly had everything, and still that wasn't even enough for him. Mm-hmm. So then whatever your brain did in that moment, and you're like, I'm done. But it wasn't an active decision that I'm done. It was the brain chemistry and the way that it all works. And we could sit here for an hour and we could talk about how your brain rationalizes and the chemistry or whatever, and the stupid voices in your head. But the fact of the matter is that all of that happened. You had a really important meeting that you had to get to because you were still actively trying to save whatever you're doing and fix some things with this and do that with Copper Johns. And you had a really important meeting of a guy who's helping you with some of the financial bookkeeping and whatever. And I couldn't really quite tell how it was actually going for you. And then you were saying things and I just felt it different. And so you're like, okay, well, I've got to go. You left. And I came up with an excuse to call you like the minute we left. I was like, oh, shoot, we forgot to shoot that content that you wanted to shoot. Oh, you did say that. Yeah, I knew we'd forgot that, but I knew I was going to use that as a reason to call you immediately because I was like, I've got to talk to you until I can get you with somebody else, or I was debating following you. So I was trying to determine the whole way until we got to the freeway and all that kind of stuff, leaving the studio, what the course of action was. This is what I'm talking about, like the duck on the water. Mm-hmm. And I'm only saying this not to be like, oh, look how good of a friend I am. It's like, I'm trying to like assess how far you are gone, knowing where I've been, knowing where some of these other people we've been, knowing these other calls that you and I have been on with different guys that have been in these situations. And I'm over here conflicted. And I'm like, this is the guy that I'm building all this shit with. This is my best friend. This is the guy who's stepped into the role of my brother. Right? Like, and I'm like, how do I do this? Like, and I'm starting to get angry with you. I'm like, you're telling me these things, and I've heard.
And what's funny is I didn't hear any anger.
I've never heard you talk the way that you were, and that's what was scaring me. And I flat out told you, I'm like, dude, you're scaring me, and you're pissing me off. And I feel like I'm probably one of the only guys that can talk to you.
And I don't remember a lot of this.
But see, and it was like, not that I was trying to make it like guilt you into anything. But I was even saying, like, dude, you were telling me all that.
The way I was feeling, you couldn't guilt the crap.
I know.
Out of me.
I was keeping you like.
I was done.
I know.
Like,
I know.
Like you couldn't guilt me like this. It was the answer.
I know. And that's why I could feel that, and so that's why I was like trying to like keep things going from a repetitive nature of like, you're like telling me what Candace is going to think if you go. You're telling me what the kids are going to think. And like, I'm like, Tyson, you cannot try to tell me that how other people are just going to be okay with this. You can't tell me how your wife is going to feel. I don't care how long you've been with her. You can't begin to tell me exactly how this is going to affect her. And then I was bringing up how Danny, our friend that we did the episode with, and she lost her husband and the father of her children to suicide 5-6 years ago. And I'm like, she sat at our table at the podcast and she told you flat out, this is not the answer. It makes everything worse from her firsthand perspective of a mother and whatever. And I'm bringing that up and you're like, it's like, you didn't care. Like, it was like, normally I can like, like get you to like, if you're feeling in a funk, and the same thing with you, with me, like, you know, that if I'm in a funk, you just let me just vent and I'll eventually get out of it.
I don't remember talking a lot. I just remember like, no, this is.
Yeah, I know you were kind of pissing me off because I'm like, damn it, Tyson. And I was like, you're going to listen. I'm like, and you're not listening. And then I kind of was like, I was getting upset with you. I'm like, hey, if you think this is how Candace is going to feel, and this is how the kid's going to feel, I'm like, yeah, they're not here to argue their case. I'm like, hey, you tell me how you think I'm going to feel. I don't know if you remember that part.
Mm-hmm. I don't
and
remember.
You're like, yeah, you're going to thrive without me. You can finally do all the things that you want without me holding you back. And I was like, shut the
I don't remember that.
up. I was like, shut the hell up, dude. I was like, there is no dad bods without you. And I was like, and then anyways, this whole time I'm like, you're like, Kale, I just got to the lab, da 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 da. And then that's when I start trying to call your wife. Mm-hmm. And then she didn't quite answer. So I called Felicia and I'm like, hey, I need you to point me in the right direction. What am I supposed to do here? I was like, I feel like I have like a conflict of interest right now. I was like, we do men's mental health. I said, I have had calls with guys that are like trying to call me and say goodbye. And I said, I feel like I've handled those very well. I was like, but I feel so conflicted right now. I was like, I'm pissed at him. I was like, I'm legitimately pissed that he thinks that this is okay. And I was like, because I'm pissed at younger versions of myself for thinking this is okay. Right. And I'm also partially, I'm like, you are going to ruin my freaking weekend. I swear. And I remember I was getting mad at you on the phone. I was like, Tyson, I was like, it's only been 3.5 years. I am not ready to speak at your freaking funeral. I don't know if you remember you said that. And it was like, I'm not ready for multiple reasons. One, haven't been friends long enough, meaning that like, this is all I freaking get with you is 3 years. This is bullshit. Right. But two, it's kind of like, and then I said this to you. I don't know if you remember. I was like, Tyson, what kind of message is that going to put across to everybody who listens to the podcast?
I do remember that.
And I said, and that was a little bit of guilt that I threw in there because Danny had even said that she's like, if I could go back, I wish I could guilt Denny a little bit more to talking to me.
I think what got me was Lydia, or not Lydia, Hattie, my youngest daughter.
Really?
I think we talked about her and like, she would be the only one who would care.
Well, you talked about a couple of them about your kids, and then I said a few different things that I'll leave kind of private of bring up some of your family situations that I've known about. So I'm calling Felicia, and she just was like, Logan, you cannot just assume he's going to be okay, and you know that. Like, she was kind of getting upset with me. She's like, why are you even calling me? You know the answers to this. And so that's when I called Candace, and I texted Candace, and I was like, and she didn't answer, whatever. And then you said, oh, I'm at the lab. Candace is here. Then she texted me. She said, I'm at the lab. I'm here with Tyson. And that's when I texted you. I said, you're going to tell your wife or I'm going to tell her. I was 100% taking away your agency with that. I was like, you're going to tell your wife everything or I'm going to tell her. Mm-hmm. That's when Candace was like, basically, don't come. You don't need to. And I'm like, hey, I told her, I was like, if anything at all, I was like, if you're feeling at all that you need me to be there, I was like, I will be there faster than I care to admit.
Well, then she came out and gave me a hug, and it kind of centered me, and she was crying. And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay.
And see, that's what I wanted to get to, is that this is one thing, and I'm not saying this is science-based or law or whatever, like this is the foolproof thing or whatever. You have to in situations like where, gosh, I always forget his name. The guy who jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
We gave him the award. That guy, we gave him an award. He talks about basically the moment that he jumped. It was like, oh no, this was not the answer. And in most cases, when you talk to people who have survived, obviously, there's been people who have attempted multiple times because, they have that moment of clarity and then they end up back and where that. It takes almost like this moment of like, you're numb. You're almost like you're half asleep. You're falling asleep. And then you have that like, oh, like your head bobbed a little bit too quick. And then you kind of scare yourself awake. That's kind of how it is sometimes when you're in the delusion of suicidal ideation. You almost need some like for lack of a better term, snap you out of it. And that's why it's like, that's why you have to have people who are like emotionally capable of being able to handle somebody in that situation, because it's like there is being gentle with somebody, and then there is being understanding and listening. But when you hit a point, there's a difference between listening to somebody and letting somebody bitch and letting somebody get stuff off their chest and just being a shoulder for somebody to cry on. And then there is, okay, we are past that. And if he stays in this lane of thought, he's not going to make it through the night.
Yeah, I wasn't.
And I recognized that in you, and it was almost slightly triggering for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I went home, and Chelsea came home because we'd gotten home from the studio fairly early. And then Chelsea and the kids get home from school around 3:45-ish or whatever. And Chelsea walked in, and she just was like, literally first words out of her mouth, she's like, whoa, what's wrong with you? And I spilled it to her. And she just is like, do you need to go? And I was like, no, Candace told me not to. And she's like, but do you need to go? And I was like, no, I'm going to respect Candace asking me not to. But then at the same time, I'm sitting there like, and then I'm going to read this if you're okay with me reading this. And if you're not okay with me reading this,
I don't remember.
I'm going to read it anyways. Right. This was, I'm at the lab. Candace is here. Okay. I tried calling her. Please tell her everything you told me or I will. And then that was at 1:57. And then after I got off the phone with Candace, and this was before Chelsea had gotten home, you text me, don't stress, man. I was about to call you, like, listen to your mother effer. But no, I texted you. I said, I love you, but you don't get to say that to me. I literally cannot help it. You are my best friend and my brother, and I cannot stress when you feel that. I cannot not stress when you feel this way. Let me stress and worry about you because frankly, I can't do this shit without you. Not just dad bods, but literally life. I've lost so much family connection that if I lost you too, I can't fathom the thought and won't even entertain the idea of a world without you in it. So respectfully, no, I will stress about it. I texted that to Felicia and she just was like, that's the kind of shit you have to say. So it's kind of like, even in this moment where you feel like you're done, you're still trying to protect other people. And that's the whole premise of what we're talking about with men's mental health and the men's suicide rate is that everyone's, even with Marshawn that just passed with the Dallas Cowboys, people are in the comments still so freaking insensitive. Took the coward's way out. Oh, he's weak. Oh, yeah, the devil entered his body because of all, he sold his soul to the NFL and like all this stupid ass bullshit comments. Pardon my French, but it's just like, no, like guys that are really in the thick of it and they are going. And most of the time when they get to that point, it's I can't take this anymore. You don't understand the level of stress and pain that I'm going through. It is a threshold that very, very few people understand. And
mine was like, I've been handling it. Well, obviously I haven't, but just at that moment, it's like it had so much clarity that, oh yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do. And like I said, even though it's not, I felt at peace. I felt like, oh, this is the answer. And like it was so weird. Like you were talking to me. I remember talking to me, and I remember like, you don't understand. Mm-hmm. Like you don't get it. That's not how they're. And
this is the point of kind of why we're doing this, even though we kind of started a little goofy with this episode, was just that like this is sometimes how quick it happens. This is sometimes.
Oh, it was like,
and this is not, and this
seconds.
For anybody that's listening to this, that might be like, oh, it's a men's mental health podcast, and now one of the hosts has had a mental break. Like, no, this is you are the first, like you're not somebody who seeks attention through situations like that.
No,
you never have. Because
the only reason why I'm bringing it up is because I'm still in the thick of it, but I know I'm going to be okay. I'm working on it. I'm working with Felicia. I'm working with Brock. I'm exercising. I'm meditating. I'm doing everything. But it is getting, it's still really bad. Mm-hmm. I've told you that. And I'm like, and it still sucks. Mm-hmm. But it's different. It's like I said, it's numb. It's like just exhaustion. I don't feel happy. But I just feel like, I was telling Candace today, I'm like, we could have all the money in the world right now. I don't think that's the answer. And so now I'm thinking, I'm like, finances might not be what I'm stressed about. Mm-hmm. I'm like, then I don't know what it is. And I'm working on it. And I do. I think I know what it is. No, I don't. I think maybe. It's just like I'm not worthy. I actually, I can't tell. I don't want to share it on here. I know what it is.
Okay. We're going to talk about it later.
Yeah. I broke deep. I told things I've never told anyone in my entire life except her. Mm-hmm. because she has a way.
Yeah.
And when I answered, I'm sure Ken would have figured it out.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know. And then I started telling her, and it was just like, ooh.
More than what we've already figured out before.
Yeah. A lot of religious based guilt.
Well, you and I mean, you've heard my stories and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And this is the thing is that I had my session with my first session with Felicia last week. Same thing, dude. I mean, we went like an hour and a half, and I've told her shit I've never told you. Not that it's like a guilt thing, but just kind of like she has a way of being able to, and this is why it's so important to find somebody. It's not necessarily just Felicia, like she's just this magical wizard of a person. That it's just like, no, it's finding somebody who has the knowledge, the skill set, and the emotional awareness and empathy to help you. That helps you find the best version of yourself, and then helps coax you there. And it's going to take a lot of work. One of the biggest things is, and this is how stupidly simple it is sometimes. She sent us audio meditation tracks,
and I can't finish it.
They're 20 minutes long, right?
Yeah.
Hold on. And I'm not trying to like slam you or whatever. I just started listening to them today. We have been doing our stand-up comedy, training and our open mic nights for some of the stuff that we've got coming up. And she came out to support us at one of the open mic nights last night. And she comes up to me. She's like, "Have you listened to the tracks?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "Have you ever had your therapist punch you?" She's like, "Quit being a bitch and listen to it." She's like, she made me pinky promise her over cheese fries. That I listen, but I'm sure it's some kind of HIPAA violation. But like the point is that like sometimes it's not that that's the answer right there. It's that like we still avoid something, even the simplest things that could potentially help us because we don't feel worthy, or we don't see the value in it, or because we don't see the value in ourselves. Like there's like we don't see the value in something helping us because we don't value ourselves enough to try to go there and work on it. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, what's the point? I don't even see, like, it's like restoring a classic car. You see, like, 1967 Shelby GT 500, right? Eleanor from Gone in 60 Seconds. It could be a rust bucket in the middle of a field, but if you take the time and work on that shit's 6-figure plus car at an auction. Like, crazy amount of money, right? But it was a busted down rust bucket in the middle of a field, right? But it's like its value. It's easy to see that thing's value because it's a material possession, right? Invaluable people everywhere. Everyone on this planet is an invaluable person. But yet we attach a value to ourselves based off our past experiences and what other people think about us, what other people say to us, how other people view us, what people comment, how all of that stuff. So if we don't see ourselves as some priceless thing, we don't see our worth, then we have a hard time seeing the worth in something that's going to improve our life. We have a hard time seeing that it's worth doing this and working on that because it's like, what's the point? I'm a piece of shit anyways. And it would be better if I wasn't here. Yeah. And that's the rumination. That's where you go down that. You tell yourself that enough times. I don't care if you even have a mental illness or not. You tell yourself that enough times, you will get there to the point where you feel like you don't want to be here anymore. Mm-hmm. Because you are inside your own head playing this negative track over and over and over. You don't have to have anxiety. You don't have to have depression. You don't have to have like suicide has no freaking filters. It can affect anybody at any time because there's so many different factors out there. And this is the point of why I am so like, all joking aside, this is why I'm so avidly against this toxic masculinity bullshit of like lions, not sheep. Like I'll say it out loud. That shit is so toxic and bad for you. Putting another man down to build yourself up, or like putting a definition of how another person or man should be, look, think, do, whatever, so that you can make yourself feel better is so detrimental to society. And so it's like, and this is where I get passionate about this because I'm sitting here watching my best friend and my brother literally flip a switch, right? And I'm over here kind of like I see I see what I went through happening in you. And it was almost kind of like shit. I'm going to let you go through this.
It's not embarrassing, but I feel like it's going to be. Because here I am writing a book. I wrote a book on A Father's Guide to Mental Health. I'm sitting here doing I Love You, Bro, as a group facilitator. I'm doing a podcast. I'm doing a social media about mental health. And here I am, and I'm struggling. And that's why I kind of do all this, is because I am struggling, and I know I'm not alone. but to know what I know and to do what I do, and then that happened to me. I don't know. I'm still a little lost. Like how, but Felicia is like, Tyson, if you really felt that, like meaning, it's okay if I die today. But I like, you don't want to kill yourself, but she's like, it's okay if I die today. If, like I had a heart attack or someone hit me with a car and I died, that'd be okay. Mm-hmm. It's like, you were going to get here. And it's like, we're working on it so you wouldn't get here. And I didn't want to put any ideas in your head. But guys who feel that way and they continue down that path, they will get to where you were.
And that's the point, is you have to be actively working in the opposite direction. And that's so what we're saying.
But she says, because I can only get to about 12 to 15 minutes and then my mind starts racing. And she's like, you have so much anxiety, you can't even sit there.
Yeah,
it's like
most people, the audio tracks.
Yeah, she's like, most likely, most men or most everyone will sit there and they will fall asleep, and you can't even make it almost halfway.
Oh yeah, I almost fell asleep this afternoon listening to it.
Yeah, and she's like, and you can't even do that. Mm-hmm. And she's like, you are. And I'm like, am I that messed up? She's like, you're not messed up, Tyson. You just have a lot. And she's like, and I'm like, well, more than everyone. It's like, no, I had people who had more anxiety than you. I'm like, that sucks for them.
Let's back up a second though. You're talking about, I'm a I love you bro men's group facilitator. I he literally wrote the book on A Father's Guide to Men's. I literally wrote the book on that shit. Sorry, I get angry and I've been using a lot of potty words because this frustrated me in the best way possible, right? Like recounting this. And I'm not putting that blame on you.
No, but then also but as you can tell, I'm numb.
But like you still put out content that day talking about the point of positivity with mental health. And this is what I'm getting to.
That one was, I talked about suicide.
I know. And it's like, and then you're doing the men's mental health. We've talked about this, like the proverbial falling on the sword. Like you see how hard it is on you with your own mental health that you're like, even in these moments of darkness, there's still that clarity of like, I don't want anyone else to have to go through this.
No, 'cause it sucks.
But this is the irony in it. You don't want anyone else to go through it, but it's okay if you do. And that makes no effing sense. And that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And I know you get that now, but so it's like anybody listening to this or whatever. It's
I get it all the time. It's like you make mistakes in your life, and mind you, I haven't done like horrible mistakes, but I've had mistakes. Mm-hmm. So this is what I got out is that, within certain religions, you're like, this is a sin and this is not a sin. And I'm like, hey, well, if I sin, then I'm not loved, or vice versa, then I'm going to be punished. Therefore, I can't succeed. I can't win. I can't have Copper Johns do well because I'm not going to be blessed because of this. And that's where a lot of this has been happening is it's like, I'm beating myself up. Don't know how yet. I'm doing it though, because I'm not worthy of success. I'm not worthy of love. I'm not worthy of all this. And so, I'm working through it because I haven't done anything like I was a lot. I mean,
but
it's like, I don't want to say it out loud, but
you don't have to,
but you know,
yeah,
but it's just like, and I'm like, and I do believe in God and I do believe all this, but I don't, and my mind says, what you did, Tyson, you're okay. God still loves you. But this part that I was raised up in is you're a sinner and it's not okay.
To feel how you were feeling?
No, about sins and things that I've done in my life and things like that. And like I've never done drugs. I've never done anything like evil or anything like that. But it's just like, sip a coffee or.
But see, this is the thing though, is that like that's where I am. We don't need to get into this right now, but that's where I fall with religion in general. Not even just spirituality.
But see, I think
is like the definition of what is considered a sin and bad. And there's religions out there, and I'm not just talking about the LDS faith. I'm saying like just like this natural born sinner. Like we are nothing without this. Like we are doomed to fail and we have to have this. And to me, I'm like, I can't foresee a loving God or creator letting me think I am nothing, because if my kid came home and told me, Dad, I'm nothing without you, I'd be like, I've messed up entirely that you think you're nothing without me, because I want you to be everything that I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get that. And we don't have to talk about this here. And I'm never going to persuade anybody any one way or another.
Oh, no. Mine is my dad, who is a church leader and everything like that. And he just looks at me every now and then, and he's like, God is a perfect father, and he loves you more than you'll ever know. More people are going to make it to heaven than you think. And he means it wholeheartedly. He's like, no, like, dude, like, you're not bad. Because sometimes I am beating myself up, and it's over dumb things. Like, I go to the gas station on Sunday. You know, that's serious. Like, that's when you grow up and say that's not okay, but then you go do it. It messes with your head.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at. I know it sounds stupid to people who are listening, but
but it's one of those things of like, those are all very specific man-made rules. And that's the thing, is that if you break it down and go back to the Bible.
But that's what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
That's caused all of this.
Yeah. And the funny thing and the irony in all this is that if you just look back at the Bible and just, if you're, look, whether you look at that
God
as
loves the sinners.
Religious text, or you're looking at it just like a history book, or you look at it as a storybook, Jesus came to essentially abolish the church. Jesus came and was like, this is not working. You guys are following all of these rules that make no sense. And it's like, you're literally sacrificing goodwill and decency for rules of a church. And then,
because it was the law of Moses, and then he was bringing a higher law.
And that's the thing. So we won't get into all that, but
and I know it's just like, but that's kind of the root of my problem is just like,
where anything, and I will die on this hill, and pardon me for lack of a better term in this conversation, but like anything, I don't care, anything, and God strike me down if this be blasphemy or anything or anyone or any teaching that tells you that you are less than, or you are bad because, or you are not good enough because, is inherently bad and evil. Like,
yeah, I don't think religion necessarily teaches that. I think the men or the people in the church just translate it that way.
Well, I'm saying that's in any situation.
Yeah.
Any situation. People who say you're not good enough here, or you don't live up to this, or you can't go here if you don't do this, or you have to do that. Anything that says that is related to your own personal worth, your worthiness of literally just living, not even like whatever your religious beliefs are. Anything that says you are not good enough unless you do this by whoever's standards, you've lost me, because I lived it. I taught it. And I also lived through, and you have now too, to an extent, yourself saying even worse things to yourself of like, you're not worth this. And so those are the type of things that change your perspective on things. And I think the premise of this is that, like, this is why I'm glad that we have had the few years that we have had with this podcast, is because I don't think if we hadn't had some of the tools and relationships and things that we have had, I called Joe too with I love you, bro, but he was I think he was
getting a doctorate degree.
Yeah. He was in the middle of freaking getting a degree. And so he was like, oh bro, what's up? I'm in the middle of doing this. And so I didn't end up bothering him. And I was calling Felicia, I was calling Brock, I was calling your wife. Like, I was calling, like, going down the list, and the point being is that, like, this is a circle the wagons moment. This is where I will unapologetically supersede your will anytime. And you need people in your life.
That's why I talked to you. Even though I didn't want help, I did.
You did. But that's what I'm trying to say, is that you're saying, because this is the masculinity wall coming up again, I don't want help. Like shit, you didn't.
Yeah.
Because the minute we stepped out of the podcast, you go to Cole and you're kind of like, you told Cole. And then I come up and I'm like, what are you talking about? You're like, nothing. And I'm like, don't tell me nothing. Mm-hmm. And I can see it on your face. I'm like, what do you mean nothing?
Because I feel stupid, because like I said, I'm doing all this stuff.
Why I feel stupid?
Because I'm supposed to be the guru.
Why? Who said?
Me.
Okay. Why? Why can't Tyson?
Because I need to be the strong one.
But why can't Tyson?
I'm just telling you.
I know. And this is good dialogue, right? This is good dialogue because
I need to be the guy who is people are looking on for help, not vice versa.
Why does that one situation negate that from being a possibility? Because look at what you're doing. We're sitting here 4 days later, and you're giving a voice to people who might not have the ability to say this to somebody else.
Yeah, it's at the time still it feels like weakness. It feels like you can't come to me because I feel worse than you do.
Dude, it's Tuesday. You're here.
Yeah.
In 4 days. You made it through.
I hear you. It's just
it was not weakness. Immediately telling Cole how you felt. Like literally 20 minutes later.
And sometimes I feel it's always about me.
It's your freaking life. Of course it's about you.
No, but I mean, like, I have a heart. Sometimes it feels like it's just Tyson.
Yeah.
And I'd hate that because I want other people to feel loved and I want other people to know that they matter. And sometimes lately it's been so hard.
So this
that
is
it's
the thing.
been a Tyson thing.
This is coming from the standpoint of what and this probably makes me sound like a narcissist, but until you've been on this side of it, this is what my point in saying all this is that you don't understand how absolutely necessary it is to make it about you. Because if you don't, you lose yourself in it and eventually people will lose you.
Yeah.
Right? It's not narcissistic. It is not self-centered. We know what those things look like. Those are where people use other people to benefit their life. There is no shame in you trying to improve yourself. There is no shame in you trying to do things for yourself so that you can be a better person for those people. I had this conversation with Brock and he got upset with me. He's like, what happens? He's like, why aren't you allowing yourself to win? And I was like, well, because it did all these same things you're saying. And I'm not perfectly trying to teach this to you. I'm having this realization myself too. He goes, what happens when Logan wins? What happens to Chelsea? I'm like, well, Chelsea wins. He goes, great. What happens to Logan when Chelsea wins? And I was like, well, Logan wins. And he's like, okay, what happens with Tyson when Logan wins? I'm like, well, Tyson wins too. And he's like, Logan, everybody wins when somebody that you like within your inner circle wins because you inevitably bring everybody up with you. You share the wealth, you share the love, you share the joy, the knowledge, all that kind of stuff. So the thing is that's the whole point of what we're talking about here. And in everything we do, all of dad bods could be summed up in this whole thing is that you have got to take the time to work on yourself no matter how much time it takes, because literally the exact opposite is you're gone. Either mentally, emotionally, or physically. You're gone.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm sorry you had to go through this, but in the hindsight, this will put you on a next level of understanding.
Sure.
And it was also like a really busy weekend for you. It was your freaking anniversary.
Birthday, anniversary.
Yeah. Like it was.
Maybe that had to do with some stuff too.
Yes. It happens. There's
wondering
so much,
like how we're going to pay for Christmas, all that kind of crap.
Stuff. Your birthday, your anniversary, like financial stuff, the holidays. There's so many cliche things that trigger it. If they're cliche because they're cliche for a reason, because it puts you introspective. Like it makes you think about things. I should have been here. You've talked about this. I should have been here by this point. You had that conversation with your dad. Dad, I figured by the time I hit 35 or whatever, and your dad had some great advice for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I listen. Believe it or not, I listen.
Yeah, whose expectation? Yours, okay? Yeah.
So my takeaway from this, and I'm probably being a lot, and people who are listening are probably like, geez, Logan, chill out. Like, no, I won't chill out on this. This is the whole premise of what we do.
You experienced it with me.
And it's not just I experienced it with you. I'm like, this is how passionate we both are. Yes, you're numb right now. I'm gonna allow you to be numb. So I'm gonna come up. This is literally the 50-50. Like right now you're at 5, so I'm gonna be 95. Like that's my job. Mm-hmm. Like as your best friend, as your brother, as your business partner, as your co-host, it's my job to make the other difference because there's been plenty of times where you've been the 95 and I've been the 5. My point being in all of this is that
one day I just want us to both be 100.
We will. We've been there. We've had 100 days. 100%.
Can you say a little bit more?
No, but my point, okay, I've said my point being 15 times. The whole reason why we do this is to give guys perspective.
Yeah.
That it's okay to go through this.
Well, that's why we have guests.
Yes. But at the very same time, people need to understand we are still 2 guys going through it. And that we want to give people a voice and understand that it is okay to not be okay, but it is not okay to stay there. And you've got to do something about it, and it starts with you. That's the whole gist of all this stuff. And I'm going to flip this around back to the whole starting point of all this shit with Copper Johns. You need to be proud of who you are.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to be like, like I flip this around. I'm like, no, you actively need to work on being proud of who you are, because I I use you as a catalyst for a lot of my relationships with people. Like I push people up against you for what I expect out of them in my relationship to a detriment at times. So I'm glad you're here. And I think that was the most intense, like, dude, I love you situations I think you and I have ever had. So I'm glad you're here. And anybody who's listening to this, it's a little bit more of a intense episode, but like you guys need to actively understand your value and how important it is that you stay here. And no matter how, like, that is the fight worth fighting.
Also, for women and men alike, let your spouse know how much they care. Because it's not that I didn't question ever that Candace didn't love me. It was more, I don't know. It was, I guess I did question it. Because we've been so busy and she's so over here and I'm over here and we don't get to meet a lot in the middle. And so we don't give each other a lot of time, and that does affect a relationship. And so just make sure, including myself, like, give time to your partner, because that's extremely important, because that does play a role in your mental health. And
tell the people that you can't live without. I mean, it doesn't have to be that every single day, but take the time to sit them down, look them in the eyes and be like, I cannot do this life without you.
Give them time. You create the time. If they're not going to, just create the time, create a date night and force them. Right?
Go to Chili's and Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah. We went and so our anniversary, the next day we went and saw a horrible show. Regretting You. She loved it. I mean,
you're like, I'm regretting this.
It was bad. But it was nice to sit next to her and just relax.
Yeah, you just sit next to your wife, a little booty tap, kiss on the cheek. Yeah.
Yeah.
But dude, I'm sorry that you went through all that.
I appreciate it.
And I'm sorry that we, had to go through some of those conversations, but I don't have words that I'm glad you're still sitting here, because I left you be enough.
I wouldn't be here without you, because I was to that point, and I really was. I think at one point I said I probably should go to the hospital.
Yeah.
I was,
and I left that part out.
I was really close.
You were like, Logan, you had this weird halfway through. You're like, I was thinking I got to take these pills or whatever, but I don't know if whatever. And then you like stopped and you're like, Logan, I think I need to go to the hospital. And then you went there for half a second and then you came back and I'm like, hey, I'm turning around. You're like, why? I'm like, you just said I need to go to the hospital. You're like, no, I don't need to, whatever. And I'm like, you need to send me your location right now. And you're like, I'm fine. And I'm like, I was like, I probably said every word in the book. I was so pissed.
Yeah.
So, but this is the thing, is these moments will pass, but you have to put in, like, you have to let people into your life that are trying. And this is the thing, is you may not be in a position where you're the person that's having this.
If we didn't have this podcast, I don't think I would have had the balls to talk to Cole or you and say I'm struggling.
Yeah.
I think it just would have happened.
It's like, for lack of a better way of saying it, I think that's great. Like, having the balls to talk about your feelings. Like, it's kind of an oxymoron.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not tough to be silent. It's not cool. It's not this manly situation to just struggle in silence until you die. That is not a badge of honor. That is stupid, to put it frankly. And I'm not trying to beat anybody up. But if you're not in this situation where you're feeling this low or you're feeling that whatever, then be the adverse. Like, if someone pops into your head, I should call that person, just call them. You have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
You just got off the phone with somebody today that is probably going through one of the worst days he will ever go through.
100%.
And I'm listening to you talk him up when 3 days ago you wanted to die. And I don't say that lightly. So be that person for somebody, because you don't know who might need to hear from you. So I love you, dude. I'm glad that you're here. I mean, that's just like putting it lightly, but this is why we do what we do. And this is going to be an episode that we're going to look back 100 episodes from now and be like, remember that one time?
Yeah.
And you're going to get messages from this episode, undoubtedly. Like, Tyson, I didn't know you felt like that. I feel like this too.
I get that every
You
now
are
and then.
going to inevitably be giving people a voice because of this episode. And I know your leg is over there jiggling because you're nervous about this. And I'm not going to let you edit any of this shit out. So.
Yeah. But Candace already knows all this, so.
Good. That's how it's got to be. So.
Yeah. Well, you told her. No.
I was not giving. I was literally. I'm like, I'm third wheel of this. And
I
communicating
told her
with,
before you.
Yeah.
But I don't know if she knew how real it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, dude, I don't. I think that's about as much as we can say on that.
Well, appreciate it, man. Toodles.
All right. See you guys later.